Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, it's time. Let's see if we can get this old Slant Six running. I don't know what we're in for here, but I'm confident we can make it run. So, let's start digging in. First up, let's get this air cleaner off. I don't know what we're looking at in here. Hopefully there's an air cleaner, filter with, well, I'll just say an air filter intact and no mice. Oh yeah, okay, all right. Definitely some evidence of mice on the outside. So, thank goodness yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness that filter element was in there. Oh, that's in there. Oh boy. Well, the choke isn't stuck, but the throttle linkage is. Oh, no. It's just never a good sign. Oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, all right. Just a little tight. Some lube on that bad boy. I mean, this is gonna have to come off anyway. Fairly certain, but okay, all right. Now, one thing I did notice that scared me, but I left it, is there's no dipstick. You can hopefully see this right here. This is the dipstick. That's not going to be good. Okay, so what I haven't done yet is check to see if there's any oil in this thing. And no dipstick, that can be a challenge, but I was thinking that I could use a tie wrap. So let's see if I can. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't know if you can see that, but that's all I'm registering. I don't think the Slant Six stick is much longer than that. Should be able to get a reading on that. So it would appear that this thing is out of oil. Yay! We're going to try and spin it using the belt and the fan. Get some gloves and get some pressure on this thing. See if we can spin it that way. We just want to see if it's stuck. And then we're going to go from there. Oh boy. Ugh. That crank is not moving. Oh, ouch. Okay. I'm gonna take that latch off. That secondary latch on the hood, otherwise I'm gonna end up with scars on my head. Okay, well, so that's not turning easily. So here's what we'll do. I'm gonna take that secondary latch off so I don't hit my head again. Then we're going to pull all 6 plugs and we're going to inspect them. Okay, just went ahead and labeled those quick. I really don't need to, but it will possibly make things easier later. So if we can do that, why not? We will eventually pull that cap off, but let's start right now just by getting these plugs out. Wow. Pulling these plugs is a little easier than the charger, I'll say that. Okay, not even tight. That's great. Like hand tight. Okay, well, hey, that's promising. There's no evidence of rust. And she was running, number 6 was running clean and good, really. I mean, might be hard for you to see on that, but it's not bad. Okay, let's hope that trend continues. Number 5. Okay, also kind of hand tight. Not sure if I like that or not. It looks pretty good too. Maybe some sign of moisture, maybe, but it doesn't look bad. I mean, I've seen a lot worse, so let's keep going. Yeah, I'm interested in taking this valve cover off to have a look at the valve train. It'll give some clue as to how this motor was maintained. Okay, number 3. Also, looks good. I'm okay with that. Alright. How about that carburetor, eh? That's power. Oh my gosh. What a beast. All right. Number 3. Again. Maybe a little bit of moisture. Maybe that looks pretty good. All right, that's number 3. Wow, these spark plugs are definitely not in there very tight. I don't have a camera, a scope, so I can't look inside the cylinder walls, but step by step, we'll get these plugs out. We'll try and spin it one more time, then we're gonna pull that starter. Oof, that one is, that one's got some oil ring sealing issues. Very oily, carboned up. Have a look at that. Can you see that? So number 2 is sus. Okay. And what about number 1? Whoa, what the hell? Oh, that's just carbon built up. Okay. So, number 1, you can see on the strap there how at the tip, really severe carbon buildup. Hopefully you're able to make that out. Okay. Let's just try to spin that by hand once more. If that doesn't work, we're going to pull the starter and we can get a screwdriver in there, or a pry bar. Let's see if we can spin it that way. Nope. Okay. Off comes the starter. Let's do that next. All right. Let's get this starter off. Test that later. If we can get that on order, it's not gonna go for us. That metal protector plate. Dust shield, I should say. Okay, hopefully you can get in there. Yeah, you can see that. Good. So, let's get a pry bar in here. Let's see if we can spin that baby. Oh, a little bit of movement there. I think. Oh yeah, that's moving. She is moving. Okay, before we go too much further, first of all, yay! And second of all, let's get some lube in those cylinders. Stand by. Okay, let's get going here. So, this is my contraption. Looks a little crazy, I know, but this hose here is the perfect diameter to get inside the spark plug hole. Of course, with the Slant Six, these tubes here, just like a Hemi, provide a seal through the valve train where oil is flowing into the spark plug hole, right? And so it seals, as you tighten the spark plug, this seals up, and so oil going through the valve train is going to get into the cylinder. So anyway, with these pulled out, what I have to do is make sure that when I pour in our concoction here, that I'm going to go right into the cylinder and not into the engine itself. I mean, not that that's a problem necessarily, but my point is I want to make sure it's in the cylinder. So this tube will allow me to push right through the spark plug hole with confidence now that I'm getting it inside the cylinder. There we go. Okay, so you've probably seen this before. It's a mystery. It's going in. Of course, I don't know where each cylinder is right now. But I'm going to get a healthy amount in there. Into each cylinder. Okay, so now I know each cylinder has a very healthy dosing of Marvel Mystery Oil. So that's going to just help lubricate everything as we continue to spin this crank over. I want to see a full 360 at least. And then I still might pull this valve cover off just to double check the top end of this thing. Then we'll move on from there. We'll test that starter, throw it back in, and throw a battery in this thing, and we'll get cranking it over. Get some good lubrication in those cylinders. Because it would appear that it has no oil, we're also going to get under the car. We're going to pull that drain plug just to make sure there's nothing else in there. Put that back in, and then we're going to throw some Rotella T4 in this thing, and yeah, helps build oil pressure up, and get that all just working really nice before we move on to fuel and spark. Okay. All right, got you back on the other side again. We're gonna do a full turn, maybe two, on this. And what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna mark this crank. Sorry, not the crank. The flywheel. So I know when I've gone around a full 360. Ooh. Oof. Okay. I hit something now. Is that a valve? That's why I'm going to pull that valve cover off, because she just got stuck in a particular place there. That could be valve train. Oh, yeah, that's real sticky. Okay, so let's do that. Let's pull the valve cover off. I want to check all these valves. Okay, let's get this valve cover off. Have a look at our valve train. Well, it's not too bad. When I say it's not too bad, it's clearly got a lot of miles on it, but it's not sludged up too bad. Just here's a better look at the valve train. Okay, now let's check each of these valves, make sure they're not stuck. Okay, so rubber mallet, and what you want to do is just tap on the edge, or the end, pardon me, of each of these rockers, and it's kind of hard to explain what sound you're looking for and the feel you're looking for, but if it's a dead thud, then it's stuck. The exceptions will be those that are pushed down under pressure, like you can maybe see that this one is compressed to spring, so that one will likely sound different. Nevertheless, let's go through all 12 of these and see what we hear. See that? So this one is not on the lobe. I can turn the push rod freely. It sounds good. So does that one. And that one does sound dead, but again, this one is on the lobe right now, so that's why. You hear that? That's that valve slamming against the cylinder head. You want that. That one's compressed right now. That one's also compressed. Okay, so with the valve train exposed like this, I'm going to reposition you. We're going to have a look at that valve train as we spin the flywheel around. And I'm going to throw some lube on this top end. Alright, so I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to spin the flywheel after I just get a little bit of lube on. I think it's been a while since this top end has seen lubricant of any kind. Bath. Okay, let's get this flywheel going. Okay, hopefully you can see this valve right here. Sorry, rocker, not valve. She's moving up now. It's getting stuck. Okay, that might have freed it. Maybe there was a stuck valve. Let's keep going. Nope. Honestly, I'm not getting great leverage with this pry bar. Come on, baby. Wow, it's got some dead stop to it. Okay, so what I've done is I've topped up each of the cylinders again with Marvel Mystery Oil, and we're gonna let that cook for a bit. And why don't we take a minute right now and we'll just check this starter to make sure that it's working. I dropped the battery in, and I've got some jumper cables, and we're just gonna test it to see if the starter is actually okay. So let's do that. We should just ground the starter and then lift it up a little bit so you can see what's going on here. Oh. Okay, hopefully you can see that. It looks like the solenoid is engaging the drive. But it's not spinning. So the starter is toast. So that's great news. Get one of those in order. Good to know that now. I'll go ahead and order one through Rock Auto or Napa, and we'll go from there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jack up the front end of this thing, put it on some stands, and I'm going to take the inspection cover off and see if I can get better leverage with the inspection cover off to move the flywheel, because coming in where the starter is, it's on an angle and it's quite difficult to get the right leverage on there. So let me get set up to do that, and I'll get you back under there and you can see what I'm going to try and do. Okay, so got you repositioned. Excuse me. This is the inspection cover to the tranny that we're going to take off while we're down here, but after we're going to drain what I think is no oil in the bottom of the engine. We'll check that out, but first let's get this inspection cover off. I think that's going to give us better access to the flywheel and hopefully some better leverage to turn that crank over. inspection cover off. Now, where did all those? There you are. I don't want to lose those bolts. Come here. All right, you stay back there. Okay, so now, as you can see, we've got much better access to that flywheel. Not to mention clutch. Okay, so let's get the pry bar and see what we can do down here now. Oh, I need a smaller pry bar. Come on! Boy, it gets to that one spot and she gets stuck. Okay, let's try from the other side. We might be finding out why this thing was parked. I don't know. Wow, it gets that one spot, boy, and she does not want to move. So let's continue to let that Marvel Mystery Oil do its thing. Let's pull that oil pan plug. Oh, God. Come on. For the love of Pete. Okay. Well, let's see what comes out. Okay, well, there's some oil in it. Okay. I don't know why my tie wrap wasn't picking that up. That's got oil. That's good. And there was no water in that. Hopefully you could see that in the video. Let that drain. Well, I got updates. So I let that Marvel Mystery Oil soak in the cylinders for a while, and I came back and began to work the pry bar on the flywheel again, just to see if it was making any improvement in its movement. And rocking it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, I was able to break through whatever tight spot was there. and I was able then to move it all 360 degrees. So I kept moving it around and around and around, and then occasionally it would bind up again to where it wouldn't move. So I have to go back to the other side and jerk it from on the flywheel from the other direction to free it up. And then I could get it to move again from the other side. But again, I kept moving and moving around, and occasionally it would bind up hard. So I just took off the rocker shaft because I wanted to, hopefully you can see that there in the video, the shaft is all off here. I just took that off because I wanted to make sure that any of the binding was not coming from the valve train. And so it's off, and the same thing is happening. So it's not the valve train, we know that for sure, but it is still binding up occasionally and has a definite tight spot if it doesn't bind up. So there's something still tight. And because of that occasional binding, it's not worth putting a starter in here and assuming I get the old one to work or a new one while it's in this condition, because it's going to burn that starter out. So it would seem that the next step is to pull this head. I've got to pull this head so I can get a look at the cylinders and then check them as I rotate the flywheel and see if I can determine where that tight spot might be. Because if it's not in the cylinder walls themselves, which I'll be able to see fairly easily once the head's off, then there's only one place left, and that's the bottom end. And that's going to be a problem. So, first step, let's pull this head off and let's take a look inside the cylinders, see what we got, what we're dealing with. We're getting into it now, that's for sure. Really had hoped that with just a little bit of brute force here, we could move it through, and with the starter then get it rotating, get some oil pressure built up, and get this thing cranking. But it's been sitting too long, or when it was parked for a reason. I might not know that yet, but we'll figure that out when we get this head off. And like I said, if we got to pull the bottom end, then the motor's got to come out. It's taking the oil pan off here in the Slant Six in this A-body. It does not look like it's a job for the faint of heart. I don't know how it's going to come off. So, enough of that. Let's, I'll get the camera set up and we're going to pull this head off. Let's go. Well, good morning. It's the next day, and we let that Marvel Mystery Oil soak in the cylinders overnight. I did come out and move the flywheel around, got a full rotation, but shortly after that it bound right up. So same problem as yesterday. It feels distinctly like it's something internal with the rotating assembly. It does not feel to me like it's a ring ridge. It doesn't feel like it's the timing chain. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds to me, feels like it's in the rotating assembly itself. Could be wrong. So we'll go ahead and we'll pull this head and let's see what we find, and we'll go from there. Okay, well, the head's off, and I think I see the problem. Maybe you do too. That piston should not be out that far. And you can see where the valve was hitting that piston. So I think when I rotate this flywheel again, we're going to see something going on with that there piston there. But I have to say, the rest of the pistons, other than that, it's tip top. No, it's a shame because the first 5 look okay. This thing would run. It was very carboned up. You can see the deposits, hopefully, in look at these deposits right here. Like carbon deposits, just awful. Jesus, I assume it was you or the previous owner before you, Jesus. Change the oil, man. Come on. Yeah, that piston should not be up that far. So I'm going to go spin the flywheel and you watch. Yeah, that shouldn't happen. Oh boy, let's pull that out. She blew a rod, boys. Wow. Oh, she's not coming out there. I bet you this thing spins like a dream now. Oh, so she's bound up in the bottom end still. Okay, well, we have our answer. This engine will not run. Okay, well, now we know. I knew it felt like it was bottom end. So, should have gone with my gut. And that would be why this car was parked 26 years ago and sat. Bet you it sounded good when she blew. Got a friend of mine joining me today, Jeremy. Say hello. Hello. So today we're going to pull this engine out of the Duster and we're going to flip it over, take a look underneath and see what went wrong with it. before we get into that, I'm just gonna put this out there. Let me know if anybody out there knows what this is used for on a vehicle. Put it in the comment section if you can figure it out. That's Jeremy's Christmas gift. All right, let's get started. Yes, just that one tang. You want to go down a little bit? Are you okay? No. I don't want to beat up the firewall. It's just, yeah. I hear you on that one. Okay, it's free. Something else in the back of the chair. I think you should pull on it. Something back there. I see where it is. You know what? Pass me that. It's a rat sport. It's all freshly painted. All right, we got the engine pulled out. That went pretty well. We got the 3-speed tranny separated from the Slant Six. And now what I'm gonna do is get this on an engine stand so that we can flip it over and we'll have a look and see what happened to number 6 rod. All right, let's go. Okay, well, let's flip this Slant Six over, see what happened to it. Whoa. Oh my goodness. That blew the cap right off. Look, here's the number 6 cap. Look at that. This thing must have just exploded. Look at that. That bearing's still good, reusable. No. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. see the rod down in there. Hello. Wow. There's the damage on that crank right there. See some other chunks down there. Something. Okay, I'm gonna try and hammer out that connecting rod. We'll get this crank moving again. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna see if we can push that piston and what's left of that connecting rod out. First, let's see if I can try. All right. Look at the force that was applied to that, probably. Otherwise, tip top. You can see where it was binding up on the cylinder wall right there. It was definitely bent. Okay. Let's see if we can get that crank spinning now. Boy, really tight in there. Something is not happy. Let's put the pin in. Oh. My goodness. Still so tight. So is it, you gotta think then, unless I don't see anything binding up. If there's nothing binding up, then I'm wondering, see it spins free there. Okay, well, now we know what happened to that engine, and certainly why it was parked 26 years ago. That number 6 rod really got hot. You could see the discoloration in that, and ultimately seized up and broke right off. So that's a wrap on this one. So yeah, this is going to be, I'll get some parts off this. And then it's going to be going to the scrap heap. I can't see any other use for that or anyone else that would want it. It's going to need the crank turned. It's going to need number 5 and possibly number 6 turned. Well, and for that matter, all cylinders will have to be bored out, right? And it's just not worth it for a Slant Six. So, as I said, we'll get the parts off it, and I have more updates. So, I've got another Slant Six coming. A buddy just down the road, actually, has offered up a Slant Six that he has sitting around. So, Jeremy and I are going to pick that up later today, bring it back, we're gonna take a look at that. It's a running Slant Six. Apparently he was having some idling issues with it, so maybe it's got a vacuum leak or a carb issue, but mechanically it's fine. So that's what we're gonna use for now. We're gonna go pick it up later today. We'll bring it back. Next episode, we'll be taking a look at that Slant Six and getting it ready and prepped to go back in the Duster, meet it up with the 3-speed. We'll get this car running and driving. Again, just so that it's movable and I can move it around the yard and you know, makes it easier for me as I'm doing the work on it. So that's the next step. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for coming along. Cheers.